To me and my teammates, 1985-86 team. It was the March, went from March to March, and ultimately gladness. 1986, when we became the NCAA undefeated women's national team with a 34-0. I'm excited to talk to my friend, my girl on the basketball court, my Clarissa Davis Reitzel, about a year, and our who is making her own content today in the Erwin Etheridge. Have a listen. I do remember I don't know where we were when we were playing flag. We're not trying to make a good impression. What you were coming into, what you were walking.
I think if you were trying to make it, as soon as the kickoff, the first it was over because everybody fell into role. Their normal behavior came out, and I think Cammie and Chris she and her sister were actually arguing over yardage, and I thought, wow, okay.
That was it. That was true form. Welcome everybody to this quick conversation about great Cammie Etheridge, who, as y'all know from my post, is playing the Erwin Center, her team to the playoffs NCAA tournament. The first time in 30 years, and I'm talking to my family teammate from back in the day, Clarissa Davis Reitzel. Clarissa was a freshman on our 34-0 undefeated women's basketball championship team at the University of Texas. And I just remember the story, Chloe, that you came in and we competitive. And it was like that from day one. Do you remember about our practice, about Cammie in general, how she's?
Well, I practice really set the tone of the year. And you come in as you don't really know what to expect, but it was definitely business. And the beauty of our team is that we didn't need outside forces to motivate us. It was every drill was competitive, no matter if we were on the court. We did things on the track that was competitive. I mean, sometimes it even seemed like a track meet. I know that you kind of split us up in groups. So it was Cammie and Beverly Williams, always at the front of the line, you know, competing for time. But everything we did was about excellence, was detailed, was highly competitive, and you knew that. So as a freshman coming in, you're going to either going to join in or you're going to get left behind. And so that was fine with me. It's all I knew. And so I fit in well with the environment.
So when you think about the great point guards at most universities, typically they aren't 5'5", let's be real, white girls. They aren't generally 5'5" white girls who played basketball in West Texas and, came in and just lit up the world. What was special about Cammie from your perspective as a teammate? And now that we're much older, looking back on the impact she had on our team?
I would say that she was working on where she is right now back then, because she was like a coach. She was a coach on the court. If I have to think of adjectives and things like that, I would say just leadership, consistency, work ethic. She commanded respect, and I don't think when you played against her or you played with her, you thought about what she shouldn't be. You didn't look at her and go, okay, well, she's too small or she's not able to do this. I think that she was so sure of herself and what she did do, and that she did it. And she didn't try to do things that maybe were outside of her game. So I really never knew that, right? So I only saw her in practice and in our games, and she stayed within the framework of her game. And she led and she did what she needed to do. And so she never really, you couldn't really pigeonhole her and say, well, she was a defender or she was a passer or she was a scorer. She just did what she needed to do at the appropriate time. And she knew what to do at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. What was interesting about playing with Cammie was, she was like that from the beginning. When I met her, we met in the summer of our senior season before we came to Texas, and we played on a couple of all-star teams together. And right off the bat, like I always tell Cammie this, she was annoying, totally annoying because her intensity and her work ethic were relentless. And so, she was always out front. She was always, trying to be her best. And she wasn't very vocal though, Chloe. I don't know that you didn't know this, because by the time you got there, we've been there for 3 years. And Coach had a hard time getting Cammie to talk, because Cammie was a doer. She was, I'm going to show you, this is how you get it done. But she didn't talk a whole lot. I can remember a couple of games where, she was telling us what to do. And I said something back to her. And I remember Coach calling both of us over there like, hey, I've been trying to get her to talk for 3 years. And now you go talk back to her? Now you gonna talk back to her? No, let's not do that. But that was just who Cammie was. She was just going to show you by example. A lot of people remember the ponytail. Let's talk about some physical attributes of the physical attributes of Cammie that stand out. When I go, okay, Cammie Etheridge, physical attributes, whether it's ponytail, curly, whatever, what do you think of?
Sturdy.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the ponytail, but when you talk about it, I don't think I do remember her saying much.
Yeah.
She did do. She worked, and she did. She was very sturdy. I mean, I don't ever think she was hurt. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember her complaining about anything. She was just consistent and sturdy to me.
When you came into our team, a lot of folks understand what happened at the end at the Final Four, but that was a long season. And how would you describe our team's approach to that 85-86 season?
Well, I think that now I'm looking back. So what I didn't know, you guys, I had already decided that winning was, you were going to win. I mean, you were not going to come short, because anything less than a championship would have been failure based on what happened before. So it was really about business. When, I remember us having fun and we laughed, but between the lines, we competed, and our practices, they were harder than games. Yeah. I mean, if you would break that team up and just, you go there, you go there, you go there, it was a battle. It wasn't like, one team was 30 points ahead. It was competitive all the way down the line. So you knew, and I'm sure the seniors probably felt, man, there was pressure on you, because there were underclassmen. We're trying to find minutes. So we're trying to do whatever we can. And if you didn't do that, you really stuck out. So if you had an attitude issue, or if you were lazy, you stuck out, because that was the culture. We just competed. We played hard. We enjoyed ourselves. We had fun, and we actually competed in everything we did. I mean, we tried. We were aerobics. We swam. We were track. So I remember thinking, are we on the track team? Right. Because I feel like we're on this track a lot. I feel like these are track workouts, but we did them. And then there were times, are we on the swimming team here? And if you couldn't swim, throw a life jacket on her. She'll be all right. Just touch and go. So it was crazy intense, but it was normal for you guys, and it became my new norm, and it's how I played the rest of my career. Yeah, it's crazy. I forgot about all the sports we played on the basketball team. We were in the swim center. Folks, just so y'all know, we weren't in the, a little kiddie pool. We were in the Olympic Swim Center on the campus of the University of Texas swimming. And Clarissa's correct. Like, there were about half of us who were not Olympic level swimmers. I was in that number. I'm happy to say that. A couple of teammates had to save me a couple of times. And we had life jackets on. We had arm jackets on. We had leg bobbles on. Hey, listen. And then, that was the day of the curl. So the enemy to the curl was water. I just got my hair done. Are you saying that I have to swim? So Jody Conrad, in her classic way, she comes in with swimming caps, plastic bags, curl activator.
I will never forget that day that Jill and Lynn and Jody walked in there with industrial size bags of curl activator and swimming caps. Oh my goodness. That
we
was
had so many
amazing.
caps. It's like I have a headache.
And then, by the way, Clarissa, the mention of the track workouts. Now, folks, just so y'all know, we had preseason things requirements we had to meet before we ever hit the court. So you had a mile, we had a 3 mile thing. The 3 mile is forever etched in my brain because we had to come in under certain times. I don't know that the kids today could deal with the requirements. Like for me, there was nothing unusual about having to be disciplined to make it under time, even though I wasn't a track star, because they gave us like 12 minutes for the mile. Cammie, of course, came in 5 minutes. You blocked it out.
Listen, but they did separate you in groups.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And what was funny, I didn't think it was funny at the time, but you couldn't just say, okay, I'm a post, so I'll be with the post. No, they separated you based on your ability. So if you were fast, they would put you with, like, if you were a guard, a forward, they would put you in with the guards. Yeah. So Cammie was the rabbit and everybody else chasing her.
Yeah. Yeah. And just for perspective again, so we had 6 minutes, I believe, to run. If you're in the guard, 6 minutes, maybe 6.5 to run that. Cammie was clocking like 5:14. I mean, something ridiculous, because Cammie was probably one of the few people on our team that actually trained for the preseason mile that we had to run for the basketball team. It was crazy, but I loved that even within our team, there was so much competition, because we knew who was coming in at what point, in the mile. We weren't going to come in last. That's what I appreciated about our team. You may not be the fastest, you may not be this, but you ain't coming in last. You're not coming in last, bringing up the rear, and having people talk about, I saw you coming in at the end of that mile. I mean, I saw you making it on that 3 mile, but it was always, always competitive. And that's what really, really made it fun. And to your point of being in practice, and the second team, it wasn't really the second team. The second five wasn't really the second five. I ain't gonna even lie. Clarissa, CJ, Yolanda Wimmish, Audrey Smith, like I could go on, was a bad five. Yeah. And so it was like, oh, they sniffing, they coming, like they blocking shots, they running. You were so good that we understood that we were in good shape no matter who we played, because if my game was off, which, let's face it never was, but let's say my game was off, a net was off, we knew Clarissa, Bush was going to come. They were going to come in. Audrey was going to come in, CJ, and make it work. And that was really, really amazing to watch that when I think back on our team, Clarissa, about how good we actually were. For us, we were just going to work.
Yeah, and we were making each other better. So if I have to think of, to coin that, I would say we were being our best selves, right? Mm-hmm, so when you were running, you had to be your best you, right? You just couldn't say, oh, for example, if you can make it in, if they gave you 6 minutes to run something, you don't get it at 5:59, right? Yeah. When you can run it at 5. Yep. You have to be your best. And so that I appreciate all that culture, because I'm going to call it a culture. It was a culture. Yeah, totally. I appreciate the culture. And those things actually helped us. I think even taking our teams, because we would go probably 6 deep trying out for USA basketball and things like that. And so I thought that, and I felt that everyone, the coaches and even other players, knew our work ethic, and they knew what they can get from us, right? Yeah. And so no matter if it was the summer or if it was a drill or a walkthrough, we were always trying to be our best selves. Yeah, yeah. And we were the standard a lot back then. We were the standard when you would go to USA basketball trials. There would probably be as many Texas players as there were maybe Tennessee players, maybe Georgia back then were the premier programs, but
It was nothing, as Clarissa said, for 6 or 7 of us to be in the final 30 of whatever the team was. It was crazy, you know, the level of respect. All right, Clarissa, I want to turn our attention as we wrap up to the build up to the pass, because that's what everybody talks about. And I want to just set the stage a little bit to tell you a little bit about Cami, since we're talking about our team, but we're also talking about our point guard, and just let you know what Cami was like. If she got something in her head, she was going to do it. She was going to do it. She was going to be an annoyance leading up to doing it. And so this pass that you see in the game, in I think it was the first or second round against Oklahoma, Cami had been planning that pass, that wrap around, jump in the air, over her left, around her left waist, back to the right, for at least a month. Clarissa, what do you remember about that pass?
I just remember catching it. I remember catching it and thinking, okay, I need to finish. I mean, it's funny because I don't think I ever saw her do it in practice. I don't remember seeing her try it and the ball go out of bounds, or, you know, something like that. So it was just so in rhythm. And at the time, I mean, you got to think, she didn't play like Allen Iverson. Right. So you didn't expect something like that. So for her, in the course of a game, and an important game too. Yeah. Right? Not a non-conference game, an important game. Yep. You know, to make that pass in rhythm, and I didn't have to reach for it. I didn't have to break stride, and you know, it's a forever highlight. Absolutely. What's great is so important that you said it was out of, I won't say out of character, but it wasn't an Allen Iverson, you know, I'm gonna say Christy Tolliver, something to bring up to the WNBA. You know, it wasn't a Tweety Nolan, some of these names y'all need to know. It wasn't that kind of, Cami didn't play like that. But I will tell you, she had worked on that pass. Oh my goodness. After practice, wore me out. I'm sure she wore Paulette out. I'm sure she wore Chris, her sister, out. Anybody who was funny. Oh my goodness. Yes. Because she passed to the one who didn't even know she was working on it. Gosh, if I would have missed that, I don't know if I'd have lived that down. Exactly, Chloe. Like, you know, you're like, okay, after our practices, which were not extremely long, but they were always difficult. And so after practice, you're ready to go to the locker room, take a shower, go eat. And Cam was like, oh, wait a minute, give me 5 minutes. She was always like enlisting somebody to be on the other end of whatever she was trying to do. And it wasn't just that pass she worked on. She worked on several of them. And you're always smirking, but you're always in disbelief at her ability and her willingness and her commitment to do something spectacular. So when that happened, I ain't gonna lie, Chloe, I was glad it was you too. Glad it was you too. I was like, the high flying Clarissa Davis needs to finish that. It is perfect. It is as it should be. That was amazing. And I'm like, everybody was excited. I was like, whoa, I'm glad that wasn't me. And I'm sure a lot of folks thought that, because you were the perfect person to finish that, you know? And so for Cami to come down and do that in an important game, what's so cool about that is the marketing genius. Like, maybe y'all don't see me like this, but you will forever remember me. It's like the movie Remember the Titans. You will forever remember the day that they played the Titans. Like, it's all everybody can talk about, Chloe. And so when you look at that highlight, what do you feel when you see that? When you see that pass, that finish, what do you think? Fun, excellence. Yeah. And a journey. Yeah. Because it really was. I'll remember that year for the rest of my life. Everything that happened, the prep work into it, practices, travel, all the things that we did. And I mean, to be the first ever undefeated team, and really in the beginning when I was on campus, I was just kind of like, okay, I'm just getting in the van. The van was full of people already. I was just one more person. Yeah. And so then I started to be a participant in that, and then feel a part of that family, and we're forever linked.
Yeah. As we wrap up, you had your jersey. What's hilarious, you had your jersey retired last spring on a day that I came into Austin and never left because COVID-19 happened. So I came in for your jersey retirement.
Wow.
And funny story, Clarissa texted me a few months ago and was like, "Hey, are you in town?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm back." And she was like, "What do you mean you're back?" I'm like, "Well, I came in for your jersey retirement and I never left. Like COVID, I never left." What's it like when you think about your jersey being retired? Because it has been a journey for you from San Antonio J High School, coming to Texas, could have gone anywhere, had an illustrious career, and now your jersey's retired.
It was a great day for me. Glad my family, could be there, participate in it. When something like that happens, it's just kind of like the cherry on top.
Mm-hmm.
You enjoyed it. Everything about the dessert was good.
Yeah.
But you put the cherry on, it was just like the finishing touch. And what's really cool about that, and as we're talking about Cami, is I got a personal message from her. And it was really, really heartfelt. I was so appreciative that she took the time while she's building her team and leading the championship to message me and congratulate me. And she shared stories. And so it meant a lot because, I mean, you and y'all two, you grew up together through the system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She was a senior, I was just a freshman coming in. I was the only freshman. And so she didn't talk very much. And so we didn't have a whole lot of conversation. Yeah. And so for her to as an adult, reach back and take the time to congratulate me on a special day, knowing that, she led that. She was the first one to get her jersey retired. And so, but it speaks a lot to Cami, right? She was always about team. I don't ever remember anything selfish about her. And I'm sure she's passing that on to her players. And I mean, it's great. Did they plan that they would actually play at the Erwin Center?
I know. Isn't that great? It was amazing to watch her looking into the rafters and watch her players come in there. They're going to be fired up tonight.
Right. So, hey, it's a Final Four. It's one and done. So I would be very careful about playing them.
Yeah. They've had a great year. All right. So last thing, Clarissa, rapid fire. We're talking about Cami. We're talking about our team. Tell us a little bit of a couple of memories that you have, fun, off the court, on the court, whatever memories that you have. I'm going to start because I will tell you, I was Clarissa's host when she came in for her recruiting visit. So I love Chloe from the beginning. We became really good friends. But then what was hilarious was when she was moving in, and this is about your mama, by the way. We were she already started laughing because Clarissa's mom is a character. So we're coming in, Clarissa's moving in her freshman year into the dorm consolving, and I'm helping her bring up stuff from her mom's car and everything like that. And I think you had some tampons or something like that. And your mom was like they ain't got tampons in Austin. You have bought like all these boxes. You had a COVID level supply of tampons, and your mother looked at me like, apparently they ain't got tampons in Austin. Like,
now some stuff just doesn't need to be said.
Oh my gosh, I loved your mother from that day. I fell out laughing. I was like, okay, these are my peeps. But what story do you have? One story that sticks out from you?
I remember Zilker Park, volleyball games.
Oh yeah,
Barbara Jordan's backyard volleyball games, swimming games, bus rides, funny bus ride songs. Obviously the work. I mean, I think the thing that really was humbling that I'll never forget is I guess I didn't realize the magnitude of the undefeated season, being undefeated. I didn't know that, we were the first team to ever do that.
Yeah.
But when they announced the MVP, to have the seniors like pick me up and congratulate me, like who does that? And these days, someone would probably be like, what is she doing? How come she got that?
Right.
But it was just so humbling, and that everyone was generally like excited, and so you can't take those memories, and I think, away. But more importantly, it became a culture. It was a culture, and it's a part of me, and it's why and how I do things now, even to this day.
Yeah. Yeah, it is special. Like, I remember us hoisting you on our shoulders. That is the greatest picture. I'm probably going to put that as an image here, because that was the greatest picture, was that our baby, because that's how I was like, that's my baby right there. Clarissa Davis, that's my little baby. But like, you're on our shoulders, and the 6 seniors are around, and like, it gave me chills just even seeing that. Seeing that was absolutely amazing. I will say that, one of the things that Coach did a great job of, and obviously we were the people, but she and her staff had to assemble the people, was like, those people on that team were great human beings, just great individuals who bought into the culture of team first, no matter what. Annoyances on our team, arguments, fights. We had all of the stuff that family has, but never, ever did I feel like people stepped outside of our culture to do things that would harm us or the University of Texas or what we were building. And that's why that 1986 team, for me, was absolutely indelible, in my mind and in my heart. I will never experience anything like that again.
I absolutely agree.